Hey, it's Sam, and I'm talking today about February 2022. Several big shifts happening with Venus, Mercury, the Sun. Also, Mars and Venus are together. A lot of energy around Mars and Venus. I'm going to get to this. Just going to go through it very quickly, but very powerfully in 5, 6, 7 minutes or so. Before I get to that, though, I want to remind you to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you think of this video if you do like it. If you're watching this on YouTube or in other, broadcasting channels, go ahead and make sure to do those things. It really helps a lot. It gets more views and helps people to enjoy astrology. So if you enjoy it, please do those things as well. So let's get right to it. First of all, Venus moves direct in Sagittarius. Venus has been retrograde since the end of 2021. So Venus turns direct in Sagittarius at the end of January and will then be moving forward and in Sagittarius for most of February. This means that we're going to move forward in our relationships, kind of unwind some of that soulmate fantasy stuff that we've been dealing with the last month or so. We've been really, hopefully, examining our own projections and disappointments. Not only do people disappoint us, but we disappoint them. I talked about this last month, that this was a time to really examine that. So we're going to start moving forward with that, hopefully with more realism, hopefully with more intelligence and insight. We've let go of those connections that also don't serve us or that don't lead us to a higher principle. Many times we compromise our spiritual direction in order to have a connection, and then we feel bad about it. So hopefully you've worked through a lot of that stuff. That's going to be a big theme this month, February of 2022. One of the things to understand, though, as this happens, is that Mars and Venus will be very close together pretty much the whole month. So even though Venus is moving forward in Sagittarius, Mars is also right there. So there might be some contentiousness, some battling still going on, some arguing as Mars and Venus go through Sagittarius together. Again, what Mars does is wants to strengthen things in accordance with our principles, wants to be inspired and moving in those directions, very, disciplined and purposeful. And then Venus is saying, well, but I also want to enjoy myself. I also want to be happy. So we can see this as the kind of archetype of the thing I just described, where we tend to sacrifice our principles in order to have a connection and have a partner. So Mars is the one who says, I want the principles, and Venus is the one that says, I want the partner. So we might feel this internal clash going on all month, and we're going to notice how our partners and our partnerships either support our practices or maybe take us away from them. And that's going to be a big theme for this month and also into March as well. And by the way, at the end of February, by February 27th, both Mars and Venus will be in Capricorn. Now, again, both of them are pretty powerful in Capricorn, but again, that's going to show a shift to a much more serious nature, a much more focused and committed nature. So even if you're going through some contentiousness here in February with Mars and Venus joined and maybe getting into some philosophical battles with your partners, again, that's literally philosophical battles, Mars with your partners, Venus. By the end of the month, when they go into Capricorn, hopefully a lot more of that will be settled down. You'll have worked through a lot of that. Be careful to, not destroy things, but Capricorn is then going to want to stabilize things, help you get your agreements better, and help you concentrate and commit to each other if it's right. But you might realize that it's not right. So again, these are big themes, but by the end of February, Mars and Venus are going to be very close together and in Capricorn. Now, another big shift that's also happening is Mercury has been retrograde. He moves direct in Capricorn February 3rd. So again, Mercury's been retrograde. When he moves direct, then we're going to start moving forward in those details and those organizations and things we've been trying to organize. We start to move forward with them. So that'll be a nice shift early in February, rather than feeling confused and overwhelmed, let's say, by details and by our communication. We'll start to move forward and start to implement, again, some real practical strategies, some real practical, methods and plans. So we're not as kind of, sort of discombobulated a little bit, especially about that story in our head. as I always say, and as I said last month, Mercury is really that story in your head when he's retrograde. We're kind of confused, like, what am I doing? What does this mean? We're trying to interpret things. Well, he stops going retrograde in early February, February 3rd. So by the 5th or 6th, after he starts moving forward, things are going to feel more practical, focused, and he's in Capricorn, where he's very, also very, very methodical and very detailed, and you'll feel much more in control of your story, of your life, and help you really concentrate and do your spiritual practices and whatnot, and be grounded, and also organize and manage your life a little bit better, because it might have felt sort of out of control. Now, the sun enters Aquarius on February 13th. By February 13th, he'll be in Aquarius. So this means that the sun moving into Aquarius is where we project our power into something that's more social. That includes things like politics and other causes that we believe in and that we agree with and that we want to support collectively with others. So this could be your, church or your community or your ashram or your yoga center or even your work job, your workplace, the culture that you're involved in. Now that could also mean the society that you live in and the country that you live in. So the sun in Aquarius shows a collective identity that we share, and he's going to move from that sort of personal, strategizing and personal, concentration as he's been going through Capricorn to a more collective sort of concentration and a collective, shared goals and things like that. But he's also going to get very close to Jupiter by the end of the month. Jupiter is going to be Combust, which is quite close to the sun. And that's going to really empower our teachings, our gurus, our wisdom. Jupiter's been in Aquarius, and that shows a sort of collective inspiration anyway, with Jupiter going through Aquarius, trying to connect with shared philosophies. The sun getting close to Jupiter by the end of the month is going to empower that more, but it's also going to lead to some frustration. So we could see some real collective frustrations by the end of the month with Jupiter being combusted by the sun. But even though there's some collective frustrations, when planets get combusted, they also get invigorated by the sun, because the sun tends to purify them and empower them. So these are a few of the big shifts coming. There's other things, but these are the few to really concentrate on. A lot of Sagittarius to Capricorn to Aquarius energy. And I hope that you will benefit from hearing this. And again, if you like this very succinct and quick overview and other updates like this, go ahead and like and share, leave a comment, let me know what you think. And again, if you enjoyed it, just leave a quick comment. I like reading positive comments, not just when people not just when people complain. And also subscribe and ring the bell to get updated and to get notified. And I appreciate you watching this, and we'll talk soon.